Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are on the Raid Shadow Legends test server. We didn't expect the test server. It is Tuesday night when I've got access to this, so I'm recording this today for the Greathoof Loriaca fusion. It is starting tomorrow in-game. When you're watching this, it is starting the next day, and I want to show you in today's video what I think of this champion, how I've built them, a couple of different ideas on the build as well, and whether or not, most importantly, it is worth it for you to do the fusion or not. Of course, bearing in mind tomorrow, we'll see how difficult the schedule looks, how many fragments we'll have to get from summoning events and stuff like that. So that will be a pretty big determining factor, I think. So stay tuned for that video tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, thumbs up, sacrifice your firstborn child and a goat. The normal stuff, really, so you can be well informed. Let's dive into Greathoof Loriaca. What's she all about? Well, Dance of War, her A3, 3-turn cooldown, block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, and 20% turn meter. That's a good solid A3, short cooldown with the block debuffs for 2 turns, and that could have some usefulness for sure in Clan Boss, Demon Lord, to make your team unkillable. I'll tell you up front right now though, I'm not going to show that in today's video because she's getting turn meter from her passive. I'm just not that into Clan Boss. I don't know how to speed tune this, but I'm 100% sure that Hell Hades, YST, Deadwood Jedi, Saf from HH Gaming, Scratch, all of these guys, everyone else basically are going to dive in and probably figure out how to make this work for you, but I just don't know how to do that. But we're going to show it to you in other areas. Good solid A3. Her A2 is interesting. 3-turn cooldown as well. AoE attack 75 bucking to 100% chance of placing decreased resistance for 2 turns. And fills her turn meter by 10% for every decreased resistance debuff placed by this skill. We'll come back to that. Her A1 double hitter. Each hit with a 40 bucking to 50% chance of sealing a random buff. And then her passive, like I already mentioned. This is what's exciting about her kit to me, I think, more than anything. Fills her turn meter by 5% each time an ally buff is removed, transferred, stolen, or expires. Okay, so what do we have going on with Greathoof Loriaca? Well, I think the exciting thing here is between her passive and the turn meter here on her A3 and the turn meter gain here on her A2, this is going to be a very, very, very fast champion. She's going to take a lot of turns. Will she do all that much super useful at those turns, though, is the bigger question. Turn meter boost is nice, block debuffs is nice, decreased resistance a bit more niche and stealing the buffs. Let's see her in action, I think, is what we're going to have to do to see how good this champion is. How have I built her then? I've put her actually in triple righteous just because I thought it was kind of funny because it's the current Forge Pass set. And I had a bunch, right? Because I bought the set, the pass, right? But we're going to get a bunch of bonus resistance and up to 30% more speed. I'd say perception is a really good one here. It's going to give you the accuracy and the speed requirements to hit what you need. You could put her in relentless, just taking even more turns and cycling through stuff more. I'm going to actually have an entire video on all of the set changes that are happening, so stay tuned for that. But I would say, something like the new cursed set could be amazing for her. 4-piece set gives her a 50% chance per hit to apply hex. That's fantastic because she's going to be such a fast champion. We've put her in this though, and you can see I haven't even glyphed up the stuff properly. I think that's going to be totally fine. Actually, maybe we'll glyph up her accuracy just to make sure that's nicely capped out. Oh, I did speed by accident. Whoops, wrong one. Well, there's another 8 speed. We roll max. Can I have that look on my main account, please? We roll 2 minimum rolls now with our accuracy glyph. That's the price we pay for this. But look, we're looking for sort of speed and accuracy here. Just lots of speed on this gear. We got HP percent gloves, we have accuracy on the chest, and we have speed boots. We'll throw an accuracy glyph on here as well for good measure. Lovely stuff. So pretty straightforward. We're not ascended or anything. We're going to give her HP on the ring, looking for HP defense, just lots of stats. HP on the neck, again, we're looking for that accuracy and some of that resistance. Let's throw on big glyph right here. Let's give her a big resistance glyph, and that'll be, ooh, lovely, another max roll. And then accuracy probably on the banner. You're kind of flexible though. I'll show you the total stats here. So she's okay sort of tankiness. If I glyphed her up, it would be better. High accuracy with the glyphs, we're hitting about 400 for Nightmare Hydra. We really want her high accuracy because she's putting decreased resistance. So where are you using her? It's probably something like Hydra, where you've got fairly high accuracy requirements, maybe Iron Twins, maybe Doom Tower. You're progressing through this content. You're struggling to build accuracy on your other champions. She comes in with the required accuracy places decreased resistance, and you can get the debuffs out that you want. I've got her with a good chunk of resist thanks to the gear, and sort of why not, and obviously very good speed. So there's sort of the priorities. You want her with really good speed and accuracy, hence why perception could be a brilliant set for you as well, and sort of tanky I think too. For the masteries, we're going to send her down into War Master for extra damage. Doesn't really seem like an arena champion, though she'd be okay, but not great. Really, she's about PvE, I think. We're going to give her extending her buff and extending the debuffs, the decreased resistance. Why not? There's nothing too exceptional here, honestly, in the masteries. I think you could switch it up even. One thing I did do, which I think will be good for her, building on that turn meter fantasy, obviously giving us more stat bonuses here is good, but turn meter when her debuff expires, that decreased resistance, and turn meter when her buff expires, which is the block debuffs. She doesn't have many buffs or debuffs, but I think it's going to be worthwhile. Let's jump in. Let's actually see her run through the faction crypt first. I've done a couple of runs, so this would be kind of fun. Just to see her in action, to see those animations and whatnot. We have a fusion heavy team here. We have Uko. There she goes in with her A2. There's the decrease of resistance. We've got Uko, fusion. We've got Razzlevarg, a fusion. We've got Nishak, a fusion. And now we've got Greathoof, a fusion. So we've got fusions for days, basically. You can see she's doing the turn meter boosting. So these waves were kind of destroying them pretty well. But you can see she's nice and quick. She's going to cycle through her moves. We're going to get some buffs up now on the team. And that's going to start making her go faster. So let's see this in action. There's the decrease. You see her turn meter just flying up, right? It's just flying up. And look, her turn meter is going to start going up more now as these buffs start to expire. Look at that. Boost turn meter, boost turn meter. She is flying through the turns. Just boost turn meter, popping up multiple times. I think this is the interesting thing about this champ. She's very quick. She'll take a lot of turns. The War Master damage is going to add up. Pretty cool. Her combo with Razzlevarg as well. He gives the increased speed. She's giving all the turn meter boost. He gives increased accuracy. She gives decreased resistance. It all combos together very, very nicely. He brings the leech and stuff as well. And because he's so fast, it's a cool combo where they're sort of outrunning buffs, which is making her nice and quick. I quite like it, to be honest, actually. So here we go. She's going to get some turn meter there. Like, you can just see the boost turn meter text floating above her head. She's taking turns like crazy. I do think that it's perhaps a bit more niche in terms of where the decreased resist would be useful, but there's no doubt that as a turn meter booster, she's actually quite good at it. She just gets back to that 20% turn meter very, very quick. It's somewhat comparable, I think, off the top of my head, to a Seeker in sort of more general teams. Obviously, Seeker is easy to speed tune for Demon Lord Clan Boss, but I would say sort of in general, it's a fairly comparable amount of turn meter, right? Just because she herself is so quick, particularly when there's multiple enemies, and her A2, the decreased resistance, will give her lots of turn meter. We will see that against the Hydra very soon as well. So here we go. We'll get through this boss eventually. It's a bit slow because of Nishak. He makes it quick, but he also makes it slow in a sense because he's doing so much damage with those poisons. But it doesn't mean he can't land any bombs because it's full up of poisons, but that's okay. So you can see she's going again, just taking lots of turns. Place your bets who did the most damage. Okay, and there you go. So you can see Razzlevarg did the most damage. He absolutely slammed it. Ragash not built for damage. That's why he's a bit low. And Nishak's doing okay. So Loriaca with this build, she's not really doing any damage. And sort of her usefulness is hard to quantify in these sort of end of turn stats because it's really all about the turn meter. But there you go, with a bunch of fusions and Ragash for good measure. I could have taken him out and put in something else, but he does have the AoE decreased defense, right? Which speeds us up a little bit. We're coming in with 2 minutes, 27 seconds. So it's not crazy fast, but it's pretty darn good. You could probably do this without all these champions very easily. Is she giving you anything super useful? I'm not sure. Let's see if we can throw together a different sort of team. Let's see if we can throw together an epic only team for this, plus her. So let's say you don't have the other fusions. What would you do? So if we come in here and I include the Master Vault for this, let me throw together a bit of a team. Yeah, we're going to take these out. Let's say you don't have these. We're looking more for the epics. Oh, I probably don't have gear on a lot of them. I'd say you're definitely going to want Basher. It's going to be essential to go with her. Basher or Uko. Because Basher has that block buffs. It is a bit random, but with this girl, right, if your block debuffs get stolen, you're going to have a really, really bad time. So I think Basher is really good. We'll throw in him for some healing. I guess we'll throw in a revive. And let me actually get Fane sort of up and running. So this is going to be a bit more slow. I'll probably just sort of edit this one in. Yeah, let me actually build up Fane and stuff, and I'll edit it in for you guys. So I'll be right back in just 1 minute. All right, so here we go. We're back. We've thrown together the team. I actually forgot to check if there's gear on Steel Skull. I mean, maybe I've totally forgotten. Oh, yeah. Let's throw some gear on him real fast. But we've basically got Basher coming in. He's coming in built for damage, right? So we've got Basher giving us an aura, bringing the block buffs. Greathoof, you've seen. Fane, I think this is the fun thing. Fane, as you all know, is a debuffer. She puts out poisons, decreased defense, weaken, even decreased attack, I think. We have really ditched her accuracy so that we can crank her damage up. So we're going to see, is the decreased resistance enough? Does it work well to make Fane actually land her stuff and therefore get more damage out of her? So I think that's a pretty good use for Greathoof. We've got Hofferys, I think does have enough, no, a bit low on accuracy, can land a stun on the A1. So going to be protected. She's going to revive and keep us going. And then Steel Skull still needs some gear. Let's take a gander here at Steel Skull's in there somewhere. Oh, that's the reserve vault, wrong vault. Steel Skull. Let me grab her. I'll be right back with Steel Skull. Okay, we got it. Steel Skull's coming in. Cruelty on this time. So sort of tanky, decent speed. Unfortunately, we do have accuracy. Guess this is sort of a problem for this sort of content, is that if you're like me, let's just go into the run. Let's see how it goes. And I think they're all just default settings as well. Turn meter boost from hers are going to be your default, actually. I had with the preset in the previous run set it up to prioritize the decreased resistance. You can sort of see why there. Fane went in. Everything getting resisted. But man, look at Greathoof. Look at that. Like her turn meter, she's just going like crazy. Like Fane takes a turn. Okay. Greathoof is flying up. Let's see. Greathoof takes a turn. Fane's almost going to take a turn. Greathoof's going to beat her to it, though. Yeah, Greathoof. So Greathoof got 2 turns in between one of Fane's turns. Like, she is fast. She's getting a lot of turn meter. I think that for me is definitely the thing about this champion that is better in practice than it is on paper. That passive. The passive is actually fantastic. All of that turn meter when your buffs are expiring is super, super good. So long as you're not running like a sort of infinity team, lots of buff extension and your buffs aren't really falling off, man, like she's actually pretty solid for it. Okay, here we go. We've decreased their resistance. Now Fane can actually sort of do her thing. Most excited for Jesus, she took a turn before Fane could even get a go. It's just not fair. This champion is super quick. She might even be good, honestly, in stun set. It's not something I actually thought about at first because I was really thinking about Hydra. But honestly, running her in like stun or provoke, because she is so quick, could be a pretty decent little option here. Like, she is just flying through her turns. I think it's even more highlighted here with the epics, with this sort of more early game scenario and setting, much more highlighted. And yeah, kind of crazy. Like, Fane's actually able to come in and debuff these champions because of that decreased resistance. And one unfortunate thing you can see with the color, decreased resistance, the red, I'm slightly colorblind, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The red is a slightly different color, which is very annoying. But anyway, there you are. C'est la vie. So we're going in here against the boss. Let's see how we do. This is a pretty nasty boss, one of the more difficult ones. There's a decreased resistance. It's going to get thrown back onto us, but it doesn't really matter, right, for this PvE content, because we're not building to resist anything. Indeed, with Greathoof coming in here, she's going to be giving us block debuffs anyway, so it doesn't even matter that it's thrown back. She actually got a refresh and got her A3 twice in a row right there. We're coming in, we're getting hit. She's put out the decreased resistance. Her turn meter's just flying up. Fane somewhat landed those debuffs. She did still get resisted. That's just a little bit unlucky. We've got the block buffs up right now so that we can't have any of this stuff stolen. We don't have increased speed, but she's definitely helping the team to run fairly quick. It's a pretty slow clear in comparison, but like, we're getting off these moves. We're landing them. We're doing it. And I will say, I actually do like about Greathoof Loriaca here that she is getting so much speed that even this boss, when it's flipping our moves, it gives her a ton of turn meter because she's flipping our moves, and she just comes in and she's going to land this stuff back on. We landed a few there, even despite having slightly low accuracy. Now decreased resist is on. Now we'll land things, no problem. Well, debuffs are just flying in left, right, and center. But yeah, it's very easy to get her nice and fast. Bam, Fane just slamming. Get her nice and quick. I don't know if Fane has even masteries done. And keep these buffs up really very consistently. Very consistently. Like, she's so fast. I've built her quick enough, but she's so quick. No problem keeping block debuffs up on basically the whole team. No problem keeping decreased resistance up on this boss. Let's see, here we go. I think she's going to get back around to it. Yeah, there's one turn left on the decreased resist. Bam, she's reapplied it. No worries. That's impressive enough. So yeah, I think we've got pretty much the perfect team here, for excluding the epics and stuff to go with her. So we've got that in our advantage, in our favor for sure. And it's certainly not an easy run here, but at this point, the boss is pretty low. We're doing pretty good damage. There's a decreased resistance, so we can actually land this stuff. We're taking some big hits here, but we've got the revive if anyone does go down. I just love seeing when one of these damage dealers takes a turn and Greathoof's turn meter just absolutely flies up. And the more buffs you add in, the better it's going to be. So yeah, there we go. The boss is actually going to die before he gets to cleanse off again. Oh, wow. Basher survives. Hey, I guess I gave Basher the perfect amount of HP and defense. He's just going to walk through with 1 hit point at the end, and boom. Not a quick run, 4 minutes 40, but we got through. Greathoof did 450k. It's not bad damage, actually. It gets to shine a bit more there. Really, what's happening, she's not built with any damage. What she's built with is decent speed and an incredible passive and War Master, and that actually ends up putting out a surprising amount of damage because of that. Simply because of the sheer number of turns that she's taking. Okay, that's pretty cool. Basher actually outdamaged Fane. That's surprising. We'll take it. I think the big thing we want to see is obviously Hydra. So I've thrown together a Hydra team. We're going to see how it works now live together. And this is the team I'm thinking of running. So what do we have with this team? No revive. That's the question. Will it work? Will it not? Don't know. We'll find out together. What we have here, I'll show you the presets as well. Nekmo Thar, he's coming in with the increased speed and turn meter boost, and the AoE decreased speed and leech and the decreased attack. I think he's a very good combo Loriaca, right? Because she is going to be providing herself with turn meter whenever allies lose buffs or debuffs. And guess what? Nekmo Thar, with his extra turn mechanic, he's going to be ripping through his own buffs pretty quick. So she's going to get really boosted up by that. And she is hopefully going to be giving him turn meter then, because she's getting more turn meter to stay ahead. Also, it's hard enough to build enough accuracy in these champions. I'm low on Artak. I'm low on Nekmo. Mithrala, Ugo. Ugo's a little bit low. Shamail's a bit low, but with her bringing the decreased resistance, it should make them somewhat consistent. We've got Artak and we've got Nekmo both in Provoke, right? So there they are. That's their setup. With her, we're going to prioritize the decreased resistance. Mithrala going to prioritize the Hex. She's going to keep us alive. Ugo and stuff. So yeah, I don't know exactly how good this team's going to do. I haven't tested it out in advance. I just threw it together. I think this is the sort of team where she would be pretty good. So she comes in, decreased resist goes out. And I guess that is one problem right there. Number one, we also do need to land a provoke. It looks like we're not going to get it. So we're going to need to most likely reset. She's already getting a bunch of turns. She's already super fast, though. I dig it. Okay, she resisted. We don't actually have a mischief tank, and we've failed to land the provoke. That's very annoying. Let's free regroup, go again. 2 provoke sets, no provoke lands on the most important turn, where you're going to have the poison cloud go out right after. Let's see if we get it this time. Decrease resist on everyone with our favorite wrong color. Man, we've missed the provoke again. Provoke set, why? But yeah, we don't have a mischief tank right here, so head of mischief will be annoying, definitely. But that's okay. We'll go in again. We'll get provoke eventually. This is what I get for not pre-recording a run. It's just I show you what's real, man. On this channel, we show you what's real. Man, still no provoke. Still no provoke either right there. We did get a resist from the burn I saw on this head is what I was looking at, because it's the bad affinity. We don't have decreased resistance. So the burn was actually resisted. And I think Artak, there we go. There's the provoke. Artak got it. Fantastic. His stuff is getting, again, you can see that when Artak was doing his moves, he was getting resisted on his effects every single time. Yeah, I think we will just try kill this head if possible. It's going to be quite annoying for us to deal with because we don't have a mischief tank, so definitely going to be the most annoying of the heads. Artak just, well, Mithrala mischief tanking quite well. We'll take it. Here we go. She's gone in with her A1. Another turn meter boost here. She's almost back around to another turn right after. She is flying through the turns. Again, you can see the resist here on this head. The decreased resistance had fallen off. So it does seem a little bit tricky. We've got, I would say, very good turn meter control. It is difficult. I do feel like there's some inconsistencies. It works well with damage dealers, like a Royal Guard or a Husk. That it's very challenging to get the survivability on those champions, but also getting the accuracy requirements. And certainly if they ever add higher difficulties, Greathoof, not bad, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I would still probably want my debuffers to be more consistent. There she goes with the A1. She actually stole block debuffs back. That's lucky. That's fantastic. That's the most important. Well, we've got block buffs out anyway. But still, that's pretty cool, you know? And that works well with the Hex with Mithrala. She can target this head and steal some stuff off like she should. Well, she's going to cycle through her other moves first, right? So it's not going to matter, yeah. But if she did get back around to her moves, it would be pretty good. But yeah, we're doing okay here. It's not an amazing team. And it's sort of my vibe, my expectation of this champion is that she's not going to be the very best. But look, she's bringing block buffs in, block debuffs, which is nice, albeit dangerous because of Head of Mischief. She actually got resisted there, probably more a luck thing, I would say. Yeah, I don't think she's going to be top tier for Hydra. Like, I wouldn't usually be running her in a Nightmare team, but I think for somebody progressing through, trying to get through these Hydra difficulties for the first time, and it's very difficult to build the requisite accuracy on your champions, having her come in is quite good. I haven't put her with a... We could maybe do another team comp as well in a second video where we do look at her with a Mischief tank in there. That could be very helpful for her. Maybe a Skaramis or something like that could be really good. Someone that's a Mischief tank that can stop the block debuffs being stolen, because that being stolen is pretty bad. Her A1, certainly inconsistent as we have seen right there. There we go. This is actually somewhat unfortunate. Can we get the provoke? We got it just on time. Wipe the sweat off our brow. That shield was going to go out, and it was going to go into Head of Mischief, which would have been real bad for us. There's the burn explosion. This team doesn't have much damage. We've got Artak, obviously. Does a ton of damage, and Shamail's doing some pretty good damage, but we're not crazy on the damage. We're sort of crazy on the turn meter. That's sort of the theme of the team. We're crazy on turn meter. Let's see how we do. Can we get Provoke back on with our double Provoke set? We did. Lovely. Decrease Resist goes out. Here we go. One slight anti-synergy we have is we've Hex, but we don't have... Apart from Shamail, who's built for some damage, we don't have crazy single target damage to really take down Head of Mischief quickly. And you can see he's definitely a problem for us. Like 26 turns in, 6 million damage. Pretty low on the damage. I'd say we're probably not going to make it all the way through. But hey, you never know. Look, I think you've sort of seen how the team works. I will remove me from the equation here. We'll fast forward through the run, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, goodbye. I will see you on the other side. Let's see how it goes. Okay, and here we are. We're 110 turns in, and we are coming up to that 1 key on Nightmare. It's been about 20 minutes of a run or so. And yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting. Let me tell you my vibe of this team so far. I'm just going to let it run out then. I'm going to go off and play with my puppy, and we'll just let whatever happens, happens. My vibe of this team so far is definitely that it's pretty low damage, right? It's pretty slow damage for sure. But at the same time, well, that is a vibe. My other vibe is that this does not feel like Nightmare. Apart from the damage being low that we're doing, doesn't feel like Nightmare. And I do think that the reason that is because with the Shamail plus Necmo, and now with Greathoof, turn meter boosting as well, we're getting so much turn meter, we've got so much speed, so much control, so many turns compared to what they're doing, that, you know, it's just a super clean. I like it. Very smooth. You can see we just sailed past the 1 key damage right there. Very clean, very steady. Actually pretty impressed so far. I tell you what, I'm just gonna leave it run. We're gonna stop targeting and stuff. We'll leave it run the way out. We'll see what stuff. Maybe I will stay in target. Sounds like maybe the puppy just went back to bed. We'll see. I'm gonna go check on the puppy. I'll come back and start retargeting if we're gonna keep going. So I'll be back in a minute, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Okay, I came back. It actually didn't last. I got an ice pop. I'm halfway through bloody ice pop. We gotta wrap this video up quick before that melts. It's really tasty. 41.26 million damage in the end. It didn't go much further than where I left it, actually. I guess something went horribly wrong. I don't actually know. Well, I wasn't watching, but yeah, look, we look at the damage overall. Artak with the almost 15 mil. Necmo with 7. Loriaca 2.4. You know, you compare that to like an Ugo, another like 0 damage support with War Master and all that. It's pretty similar, a bit further behind. I wonder why that is. I guess she every 3rd turn she doesn't actually attack. She only attacks 2 out of 3 turns. Whereas Ugo tends to attack quite a bit. Ugo only uses the A3 every now and then. AI is pretty smart for Ugo, so I don't know. Ugo has extra turns at Relentless as well. So yeah, she's not either way. She's not doing crazy damage. Loriaca is never going to do crazy damage, that's for sure. But definitely Nightmare Hydra viable. What she's bringing to the team, decreased resistance is going to help you, especially with the damage dealers, be more consistent. I do feel, to reiterate, one of the big problems with it is that decreased resistance is not 100% reliable. It can fall off, for example. It can miss. I think that's the biggest issue. If she's the wrong affinity for a head, she can weak hit, like, for example, here, Head of Torment, blue affinity. She could weak hit that head. And then if she doesn't put decreased resistance, because she weak hit, if all of your damage dealers are relying on that decreased resistance to place their debuffs, it's not going to place. They're going to get resisted because they don't have enough accuracy. That's a big problem. So I think she's going to be pretty dependent on the Hydra rotation. But that being said, I do think that on certain rotations, that is going to be quite useful, that decreased resistance. She's good for bringing it, and she does bring a hell of a lot of turn meter, and because she takes so many turns, she is pretty consistent. If she's the right affinity, she's actually pretty consistent with the decreased resistance. So yeah, I actually feel like she's one of the more usable ones. If you had a debuff extender, for sure, it'd be super reliable. So yeah, I actually think she's pretty all right for this. Hey, you can maybe try the new Affinity Breaker set, I guess, and give her the 50% chance the weak hits won't be weak hits. That could be nice. Maybe throw in a taunting set, especially if you're willing to target. If you're going to manual a little bit as well, the A1 would be quite good on manual for stealing like the buffs that do sneak through. But yeah, I kind of feel like she's not top tier, but she's pretty solid. She's pretty good. I think she's pretty comparable to, let's say, Seeker is one of the best epics with that turn meter boost and the increased attack, increased defense when he's crit. Not super useful, but decent. But he's got that provoke. So Seeker's bringing you lots of provokes and the turn meter increased attack. She's bringing you, I think, a very similar amount of turn meter, but decreased resistance, block debuffs, and some potential buff steals. I think it's fairly comparable. I think she's maybe slightly more... I don't know, she brings slightly more in her kit, but maybe the provoke is more directly usable. But yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's one of those things. It's tough to measure the value of decreased resistance and of turn meter. They're things that don't show up directly in the stats, as it were. But yeah, I think Loriaca, she's a bit better than I expected. I expected her to be very average, and I now think she's actually probably a little bit above average. Very, very good turn meter booster with some nice effects thrown in as well. It's really the passive that has completely changed, well, not changed my mind, but has ended up impressing me on this fusion. I thought that she'd be, you know, very skippable, really probably the worst fusion in a long time. I actually don't feel like that's the case anymore. I actually think she's pretty solidly okay. Pretty good. It's a bit better than I thought. It's just a ton of turn meter. She's very quick with this Hoofbeats passive, which means that she's very consistent with this A3, which is a really good move, to be fair. So yeah, there you go. Greathoof Loriaca. We'll see tomorrow when we see the calendar how difficult the fusion is looking to be. I would say if it's pretty doable, this is a champion that's, you know, decently okay to grab. I definitely don't feel like she's essential for most people, but if you're early in the game, like if you're sort of early mid game and the fusion's not going to be too difficult for you, I definitely think it's worth doing. If you're late game and you're going, she seems okay, great, but I don't really need her, well, that's totally up to you. I mean, for me, if it's easy to do, it's still probably worth doing just to have good faction guardians, right? She's going to be a good faction guardian, worst case scenario. There's lots of good champions to empower and skinwalkers. I think she's like a decent champ. Kind of cool. Might be somewhat useful for further Hydra difficulties and stuff as well. We'll see. Don't know. I feel like there's probably going to be better options for it, but she has some potential. I think she's worth grabbing. Quite fun. Actually, I will say that. Most important thing, I think the passive, getting tons of turn meter in a champion, plain and simple, it's just a whole lot of fun. There you go. Greathoof Loriaca. I think she's still fairly average, but solid enough, actually. Better than expected due to the turn meter and fun as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy the showcase. Thumbs up if you did. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.